Good morning, students. Today I will start with Unit 4. Okay, and the first poem in Unit 4 is Conscientious, Objector. Before I begin with that, I had told it to you earlier also that the first 3 units, Unit 1, 2, 3, are for detailed study. Detailed study में हम क्या करते हैं? Detailed study में nothing complicated. It simply means that those 12 lessons which we have studied in the Unit 1, 2 and 3, you will get comprehension questions from those units. And from Unit 4 onwards, you will get only questions, not comprehension questions. These are for Unit 4 onwards is for non-detailed study. Okay, I hope I am able to make myself clear कि first 3 units जो हैं उसमें से आपको comprehension questions आएंगे and from Unit 4 onwards you will get only questions. I have shared with you the format also. Question paper का format मैंने आपके साथ share किया है, आप देख सकते हैं उसमें clearly. Okay, so let us begin with the poem. This poem, Conscientious Objector, is written by Edna St. Vincent Millay. She is a very successful American poet. यहाँ पे poetess लिखा है. In today's time, हम gender biases नहीं करते हैं. So we use poet for female poet also, female writers also, right? So she's been a American poet and a playwright, and she has received Pulitzer for her poetry. And as far as this poem is concerned, obviously this poem is a statement against immortality of war. अब इसको समझने से पहले हम समझते हैं conscientious objector कौन होता है. Conscientious objector is a person who believes that war is a wrong thing on the basis of moral and religious reasons. Okay, on the basis of moral and religious reason, war is wrong. This is the meaning of conscientious objector. Okay, and over here this poet as a person, okay, of course the I is being used, the poet is using I for himself, so I will say the narrator or the poet, let us not say narrator. The poet is saying that I will not help death. How she will not help, let us find that out. Apart from this thing, poet is the conscientious objector. How she is conscientious objector, what she says is what we have to look into the poem. Second thing that is there, immortality of war तो हमने देख ही लिया. Okay, let us discuss, write it here. She says death is inevitable. So these are 2 things on the basis of which we will study the poem. Now let us read the text. It says, I shall die, but that is all I shall do for death. Now very interesting it is, you know. What she says is, she says, I know I have to die. Death is inevitable. It has to come to everybody. And that is the only thing I can do for death. I will never assist death. अब ये first line ही बड़ी contradictory है. Why would death want a person to assist it? Okay, that is what we have to see. This line gets clear towards the end of the poem, how she will not assist. I hear him leading his horse out of the stall. Where what is the stall? The place where horses are kept, stable. I hear the clatter on the barn floor. Barn, of course, where the horses are put. So what is the first thing that is happening? Now this is another concept. So what is the poet doing? The poet is saying, or what the poet has done. Death is personified as horse rider. Now you have to understand this poem in this context, that him likha hai na, I hear him. Him is used for death, which means death को human attributes दिए हैं, and him is death is being personified as a horse rider. So death is coming here as a horse rider, and the poet says she can hear death coming out of the stable on the riding on the horse. A horse rider, as a horse rider, death is coming on the horse. I can hear the clatter sound. किसकी sound आती है? Horse के नीचे hoofs लगे होते हैं. You know those iron hoofs. You must have seen the horse. So she says, I can hear the sound, the clatter. Clatter होती है, the sound of horses' hoofs. He is in haste. Death is in haste. It is riding fast. He has business in Cuba, business in the Balkans. अब ये जो क्यूबा और बाल्कन का रेफरेंस है ना, क्यूबा एंड बाल्कन्स. What was happening here? Here the civil war was going on, right? Now war is when war is going on somewhere, death is inevitable. People will die when civil war is going on. Civil war क्या होता है? Which is something, a kind of war that is happening within the country. That is civil war. When the people on religious reasons, communal reasons, secular reasons, when people are fighting, people of one country are fighting with each other. That is civil war. So that is why she says, the poet says, he is in haste. Death बहुत जल्दी में है. It is riding fast. Why? Because it has to go to these places where war is taking place. Let us not use short forms. Okay. Many calls to make this morning. So many calls to make this morning. Death has a lot of work to do because many people will die in the civil war. But I will not hold the bridle while he clinches the girth. Girth is the seat on which the horseman sits, okay? And bridle, the rope which is put around the neck of the horse, to lagam जिसको हम बोलते हैं ना. So she says, I will not help death to ride on the horse. He may help himself, and he may mount by himself. Mount, to ride the horse. Horse के ऊपर mount करना means horse के ऊपर बैठना, to sit on the horse. I will not give him a leg up. Generally horse riders, they are given a leg up. They are given a chance that they can just move up and mount the horse. So the poet says, I will not help the horse. ये literal meaning है, लेकिन इसका symbolic meaning क्या है वो आगे आएगा. Though he flicks my shoulders, flick, tap, चाहे वो मेरी तारीफ करके मुझसे help ले या मुझे मार के help ले, I am not gonna help death in any case. That is why she says, though he flick my shoulders with his whip is the chabuk, which is used to hit the horse, I will not tell him which way the fox ran. अब ये जो fox ran use किया है ना, fox ran is used for the victims. And कौन से victims वो भी next line में आपको पता चलेगा. With his hoof on my breast, I will not tell him where the black boy hides in the swamp. Swamp होते marshes, ठीक है? Marshes में he is hiding. Now what the poet is trying to tell us here? The poet is trying to tell us that I will, when in America, you know, lot of exploitation was going against the black people, right? And many black people were dying. तो ये इंडिकेशन जो एक बॉय का है, ये फॉक्स रैन जो मैंने आपको बताया कि विक्टिम के लिए यूज हुआ है. So these victims are the blacks. First example which she took for people who are dying is in Cuba and in the Balkan where the civil war was going on. So she said, I will not tell him. She's saying he is in a haste to reach this place. Now she is saying, I will not help death to know where the victim ran, where the black people ran, because she will again people will die. And another thing, flick my shoulders, like even if it take my shoulders, tap my shoulders by trying to be a friend, I will not help death in any case. And if it tries to hurt me by putting the hoofs on my breast, then also I will not help death. I shall die, but that is all that I shall do for death. I repeat again. I shall die, my death is inevitable, but that is only thing I will do for death. And what I will do? I will die, but I will not help death get other victims. I am not on his payroll. Being on his payroll means I am not an employee of death. I will not tell him the whereabouts of my friends, nor of my enemies either. So in every case, the poet is trying to save the mankind, save humanity from the clutches of war, from the clutches of death. Okay? Though he promised me much, he may give me false promises, I will not map him the route to any man's door. So I will not tell death where people are living. She will save the whole mankind. She will save the whole humanity. And इसी को elaborate करने के लिए she says, am I a spy in the land of the living? That I am not a spy of living being. Spy for death, not helping death in any case. Says, I am not a spy. Okay, that I should deliver men to death. I am not somebody who is secretly helping whom? Helping death. So I am not a spy. Brothers, now she's addressing the people of the country, and she's saying, I will not give the passwords and the plans of our city. They are safe with me, never through me shall you be overcome. So the plans and the passwords, she says, they are safe with me. Basically what she's trying to say, that in any case she is not helping people, she is not helping death, sorry, in killing people. She will save her people from all kind of death and from all kind of war, because according to her, war is something that is immoral, that is irreligious. So she says, she's telling her countrymen that never through me shall you be overcome. Overcome यहाँ पे use हुआ है defeated के लिए. So you will never ever die. Okay. So this last thing, you know, what has been used here, am I a spy for death, or I am saving the passwords and the plans of the city, it simply implies this much, that in any case, being a human, the poet is not helping death. That is why first line justify hoti hai, that I shall die, and this is the only thing I will do for death. What I will do? I will die, but I will not let death come to other people. I will save other people from death. And how that can be done? By avoiding wars. Wars which are immoral. This is one example of civil war that she has given, and the exploitation of black Americans that was taking place is another example, where she says death is coming riding on the horse, but I will not help death. And you know, the notes over here, they say, when we talk of conscientious objector, of course the poet is the conscientious objector. So a term that describes a person who, for moral and religious reasons, think it is wrong to wage war and therefore refuses to serve in any branch of armed forces. तो ये तो complete meaning है. तो यहाँ armed forces का as such there is no mention over here, but the only point that Edna is making in the poem as a conscientious objector is that she will not help death in any case. I am not an employee to death, she says. And even if death tries to become a friend with me, or even if death tries to hurt me, I will not give her the addresses of humanity or of mankind. So that is what she is trying to talk about in this poem. Now if we say, if we read the analysis, small analysis that is given here, the title of the poem gives us a clear indication of the theme. The conscientious objector is a person who refuses to be part of the armed forces for moral and ethical reasons, which I have rubbed that. Let me write it again so that it is in front of you. Moral and ethical reasons. अब ये बात ना भूलिए please, है ना? Conscientious refuses war on moral and ethical reasons. Who refuses to be part of armed forces. Armed forces में होंगे soldiers होंगे, लोगों को मारेंगे, खुद भी मरेंगे. Okay, that is why. Thus implying that war is immoral. War is being considered as immoral because it militates against life and facilitates death. When war is taking place, death is inevitable. अभी first year compulsory में poem पढ़ी है ना, the man he killed, क्या बोलता है वो? Had he and I met at an inn, we would have become friends. What he says, we would have shared a nipperkin, right? अगर हम किसी inn में मिले होते, other than meeting on the battlefield, we would have become friends. But because we are meeting on the battlefield, what we have become? We have become enemies. I shot at him, he shot at me. Okay, so there also Thomas Hardy, the man he killed by Thomas Hardy, he is also telling futility of war. Here also, this poet, Edna, is also focusing on the immorality of war. There he is talking about futility of war. Okay, so you can make a connection between the two. War as such facilitates death. It brings death for sure. This poem is a statement against immorality of war as well as death which follows in its wake. It brings forth poets' pacifist ideas. Pacifist होते हैं who have a theory of war in their mind, okay? War theory in mind. And critique of war. Critique is QUE. Critique होता है detail analysis. Okay, so whatever references she has given here, चाहे वो क्यूबा बाल्कन का है या फिर आपका black people का है, or she is saying that if death will try to hurt me, even then I will not do anything, I will save my brethren from death. It simply implies that of course people should not, she is something who would not be part of armed forces, not kill humanity. Now she's not talking about only my people, her people, she says. She is talking about mankind in general. That is why she says, brothers, I will not give the passwords and the maps to death, because I am not a spy. I am not a person who is secretly working for death. Right? Interesting one, but you have to understand in what context conscientious objector is used for Edna, how the poet is trying to be the conscientious objector. She's saying death is inevitable. It has to come. It will come to me, it will come to you. But then war is something that is immoral, and war leads to death. So I am against that for moral as well as ethical reasons. And what does that mean? She wants to save the mankind. She wants to save the humanity. That is what it means. Okay? I hope clear हुआ हो आपको. थोड़ा सा complicated है, but then I have tried to make it simple that what she is trying to say. Technically बात एक ही है इसमें, और वो क्या है? Personification has been used. Death has been personified as horse rider. That you have to remember. Second, and the most important thing is that poet believes the immorality of war, and death is obvious if wars will take place. Simple सी बात है. Okay? So I hope it must be clear to you. Still, if you find any doubts, you may ask. And that is all for conscientious objector. Thank you.